Hey, how's it going? We're in sunny South Florida and it is beautiful out here. Look at this. Wow. You can't get much better than this. And I'm out here doing a couple laps running, and I want to address veganism because I was thinking about it while I was running, and I have decided that it is not a sustainable lifestyle and that in the long run it is of health detriment and it can kill you. Now, before you jump on me about this, I want to say that I was a vegetarian for years and years. Since I was 14, I was a vegetarian. I'm 26 now, and I had stopped being a vegetarian a couple years ago, but I was deciding to go back to it. When I was 14, my father was a vegetarian. He was the first vegetarian that I had met in my whole entire life, and I look up to my dad very highly, and I want to be just like him. So I decided to take on this vegetarian lifestyle as a 14-year-old, and as I did my research and with the China study, with other articles and things and books, I would read books and go check out books from the library. I discovered veganism, and I want to be a vegan. I was really excited. And I would tell them about it, and I would tell my parents about it, and that's all I could talk about. I would cook foods for them and try to get them to convert, and it didn't work. That's the usual, right? But what it did do is stick to me for a long time. And from the age of 17, I was a track and cross country runner, and I was running 70 miles a week and on this vegan diet. They're doing great, by the way. And I got a scholarship for college. So it was wonderful if you think about it. A vegan athlete who gets a scholarship to college looks really great. And after the first year of college, I was doing really well. And then I began to feel very tired all the time. I began to be depressed and feel tinglies in my fingers. My fingers started feeling weird. I started not sleeping right and sweating when I slept. When I was sleeping, I would be drenched in sweat all the time. And I didn't know why. I started questioning, was I overworking myself? Was I running too much? Was I not recovering? And it wasn't until I had a person on my team who had anemia. He was diagnosed with anemia, that I realized that I might be anemic too. And this guy had been eating steak all the time. Every time I seen him, he had a red piece of red meat on his plate, and he still had anemia. So I looked at him and I said to myself, if this guy can have anemia, then what does that mean for me? A vegetarian, someone who is out here basically not eating animal iron, an animal source of iron. So I had my blood test done, and indeed I was anemic. So after years of being a vegetarian, after years of running a sport that requires massive amounts and massive power from your red blood cells, I was anemic. And it was a detriment to my sport. And potentially to my health, because anemia comes in stages, and I was in a very beginning stage of anemia. Well, I started eating meat at that time just to get by for my scholarship, because I come from a poor family. I really had no option. I really had no other way to pay for my school but a scholarship, and I thought that was the best way for me. It's been years now, and I'm done with running, and since I've adapted a vegetarian lifestyle again, and I've contemplated becoming a vegan. And through contemplation, I thought about a few things. One, my father got sick. He had high cholesterol. Being a vegetarian, since I've never even seen a piece of meat on my father's fork, and he had high cholesterol. And that is so in the contrary to what everyone has been saying and what all the books have been saying for years that I've read. And it was frustrating because he had heart arrhythmias as well. And I wondered, maybe he is anemic. But as I looked and researched, I found out about a few other things that you could easily become deficient in over time as a vegan. I had a coworker who, she had tingly fingers all the time, and she had to hit herself sometimes and stomp, and I didn't know why. And she didn't do it very often, but when she did, I had to ask myself, what is she doing? And eventually I asked her, I said, why do you hit yourself, and why do you scrunch your fingers like that? And she said, I get really tingly, and I have to. It feels better. It feels like I'm putting my body back together. And I thought this was crazy because I would never let myself get to that point. I'd be asking questions why. So I said, do you know why? And she did. She said, I am B12 deficient. This is a girl of Indian descent, and if you know about the Indian people, many of them are vegetarian. And she's been a vegetarian her whole entire life. And she has B12 deficiency. And people hear that and they don't think it's serious. B12 deficiency can cause infertility in women, can cause neurological damage, which is permanent, and can damage your brain, can make you have dementia, Alzheimer's, and many other things. It's not just a couple things that happen with this. It can really affect you. So I wanted to know if B12 can be sourced through anything else. Can you go get B12 from, vegetable foods? And you can't. And that's what they tell you, that you can just eat seaweed, you can just eat certain mushrooms, you can just eat certain, soy products that are fermented and get your B12, but you can't. You can't get your B12 from it. It's an analog. And now what that means is the B12 that you get from these plant sources, your cells, they have little hands that come up, and these little hands attach to B12. They find B12, and B12 attaches them, and then they use it for all the functions of their body that it's needed for. But the analog of B12, it's a fake B12. It's not real. Your body can't use it for the neurological functions. Your body can't use it for any of the processes that it's needed for. So what happens? The fake one attaches, and then your body's tricked and thinks it has what it needs, and that's it. And you end up being deficient as a vegan or even a vegetarian. And that's why I say it's not sustainable. B12, your body can store it for years. You won't find out that you're deficient in B12 till 4 or 5 years after you become a vegan. So at first you feel really good, you feel great about it, you have all the energy in the world because you just started eating all these fresh fruits and vegetables, which that is what people don't realize. The reason why they feel so good is because for the first time they're eating real food. They're eating real fruits and vegetables. That's why they feel so wonderful. That's why they feel so good. So what happens? They eat these fresh fruits and vegetables, they feel great, and then 4 or 5 years down the line, they start feeling different, but they hold on to it because this is what they've known for so long. But I'm here to tell you it's wrong, and that you have to change. And if you can prove me otherwise, if there's vegans or vegetarians watching who can prove me otherwise, then I will become a vegan myself. Because I love the vegan lifestyle. I love eating fresh fruits and vegetables. I love going to the farmer's market, and that's all I pick up, and that's what I eat for the week is fresh things from the earth. Okay? But for now, I'm going to eat my animal protein, just a little bit, not a whole lot, my raw milks, and my farm fresh eggs. Okay? Until next time, I urge you to do that as well. But if you have any other research or things that show the contrary, please share them with me, okay? I would love to talk about it, and I would love to